Hey guys, I'm C Sharper, and today we are going to be using Visual Studio Code to make a conversation creator. This will be a multiple part series on teaching you how to use C Sharp, and I'm going to start off with this very simple project. Let's get into it. You're going to want to go ahead and have Visual Studio Code, make sure it's not Visual Studio, and you're going to go ahead and add these plugins, which I'll go ahead and link in the description. Now you're going to want to have this run out in program.cs, and right here, between stack void and these squiggly brackets, this is where you put your code. By the way, to put a comment is 2 forward slashes. Now comments will not affect your code, they're just there for you to know what things are for. So you can go ahead and have this. It's not required by any means because, of course, it does not affect your code, but it is very recommended. Go ahead and drop a few lines. And now we're going to go over a few functions. So, in your launch.json, you're going to go ahead and have console, well, on line 17, external terminal, in quotation marks. Going to go ahead and have this, comma, and then this should be set up. Create your own program. I'm going to do console.read key in parentheses and a semicolon. Now, what this does is it makes it so when you press a key, the program will close. Console is one of the main modules, and by that I mean one of the main function holders. And read key is one of the events, or when something happens inside the module, aka console. And when you have an event, you're going to want parentheses, and in all C sharp, you're going to want to have a semicolon to separate code. Of course, it is not required in comments, but it's good practice. Now, console read key, you can see if we go to run, start debugging, it should go ahead and open something in a few seconds once it loads. You cannot see this, so I will go ahead and make it so you can see it real quick. I will be right back. There you go, you should be able to see this now. This is our first program, and this runs when you do start debugging. So now you can see if we press any key, such as L, it closes the program. That is simply how it works. Let me go ahead and go back to Visual Studio so you guys can see. And let's go ahead and make it so you can actually talk to it. I'm going to do, whoops, make sure it's always on the right side for white space. And now let's go ahead and do console dot read line. There we go. So now, when we run, you can start debugging, and this runs the file. I'll go ahead and give it a second to load. There we go. You can now see that when I do okay, it does not close yet. But if you do enter and do it, it closes. Now, this is a workaround for wanting the program to close when you press the letter, but you want it to type something first. So, now, let's go ahead and go over some variables. So, when you're in Visual Studio Code, variables are the simplest way to put it, information holders. So, say you had a box and you wanted to put stuff in the box that you could use later. This is what a variable is. Now, there are many types of variables. There is int, yeah, there's int. You can go ahead and have a value. And you can go ahead and finish off with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and see what our problem is. Whoops, we forgot a name of the variable. So if you want a number, you're going to have int, which stands for integer, which is a number. You're going to have the name of the variable. Let's go ahead and say my favorite number. And then you're going to have it set to a value by doing space equal and then the value that it holds. Now you can see down here, the variable my favorite number is assigned, but its value is never used. This means that we have not used this yet, and the program doesn't want us to waste space. So now I'm going to go ahead and do another function by doing console.writeLine. Down here, this is another function. Let's go ahead and make sure you have parentheses and quotation marks because we're going to be doing text. Now we're going to do my favorite number is, and then outside of the quotation marks, but still in these brackets, go ahead and have a space, a plus, another space, my favorite number. Now, this would work, but is not very efficient. But first, let me explain what this is. When we run the program, it will write this, and actually, let's go ahead and get rid of this by making it a comment real quick. There we go. My favorite number is, and then you have the value. This is not very efficient because it'll say my favorite number is 5, of course, but it takes up a lot more memory and information than it should. The way to fix this is to delete this, you convert, make sure it's capital C, dot to string, there we go, and we're taking this number and we're making it a string. So you can see that, convert to string. So, you can see up here that string is another type of variable just like int, but we do not need this right now, of course. Now let's go and go down to here. Let's do, let me see. So we'll convert to string, and we're going to have the, true. Actually, no, we're not going to have true. Then we're going to have my favorite number. And as you can see, we still have an error. See if you guys can figure out what it is. See if you've been paying attention. Alright, time is up, and you should have noticed that we do not have a semicolon on the end of this line. So now that's done, the error has gone away. And now let's go ahead and do run, start debugging. It will go ahead and load it up. Let's see, it's still loading. You can see that, well, give me a second. You can see that it says, give me a minute. There we go. You can see that it says my favorite number is 5. Now we can go and say OK, and it will close. So now let's go ahead and do some if statements. This is the last thing we're going to end up doing today. So let me go ahead and make this visible again. Go to properties, is a recording thing, sorry about this. And there we go. So now let's go ahead and make it so we can have if statements. We can go ahead and do if, whoops, make sure you have white space. By the way, white space is what you call it when you're making it neat, like these extra lines and the tabs. Now let's go ahead and do if, and we're going to have parentheses. Now outside these parentheses, we're going to have squiggly brackets. There we go. And now we're just checking if, so we're checking whatever is in these parentheses is set to true. And if so, it will run this line down here, and we're going to have else. As you can see, there's some more parentheses and stuff. More squiggly brackets right here. And the code, if it's not true here, we'll go ahead and go down here. Now we're going to have the if statement. I'm going to say, if my favorite number is equal to 5. Let's go ahead and look at our problem. Let me see here. 16. Alright. Convert my favorite number. Whoops. Go ahead and give me a second, guys. It seems that there are some technical errors, which really sucks. Now let me go ahead and do some debugging real quick. Alright. So I found the error. You have to make it so it's double equal signs. And that should do the trick. Yep. So now, we're going to have white space right here. I'm going to do console.writeLine. I'm going to do 5 is equal to 5. Oops, seems like we actually have a few other statements here. They're not meant to be there. Those were in the wrong space. But now we're going to drop a line after, of course, doing semicolon. But since this is an if statement and it's a function, you can tell it's a function because of these squiggly brackets. You're not going to have a semicolon there, but you will here because it does not have the squiggly brackets. We're going to drop line. We're going to do else. And as you can see right here, you will have console.writeLine do 5 exclamation part equal 5. Now in C sharp, exclamation mark and an equal sign means not equal to. But now it seems like we actually have some errors. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Alright. So it seems we have an error on right line. Get some white space. I'm going to do this. That should have made one of the problems go away. Let's see here. It's on 19. I think that should fix it, maybe? No. Let's see. Anyways, guys, I'll update you on what the errors here are in the next episode. Yeah, until then, I'll be seeing you later. This was C Sharper. Bye.